Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be going over the process for creating this piece for spooky season. So let's get started. So this was a piece that I actually had the idea for last year around this time, but last October I was actually very busy with lots of home stuff, so I actually didn't participate in any kind of Inktober challenge or anything like that, and this particular idea just kind of took a back burner, and I could have done it at any time between then and now, but I decided to just kind of hold on to it, decide what I really wanted to do with it before I dove into it for spooky season again. This is not a prompt for any particular October challenge, not Inktober or anything like that, but it is one that I really wanted to do. And because it was in my head for so long, I had made a lot of decisions already before I even started drawing it. Again, I didn't do any thumbnailing because I am terrible at doing that. I usually just go into the sketch phase and just fix and tweak things as I go. And for this one, I started with the idea of having like stuff stuck in her hair, like candy and stuff like that, because I definitely wanted her to look very chaotic and unhinged and just like crazed a little bit. But I decided to change that up, and then she just has big curly hair. And the reason for that is because I think that she already does look crazy, and adding more and more details to the hair might have taken away from the overall effect of the image. But one decision that I did make very early on and decided to keep was to not use dark line art. I tend to stay away from black, but the inking or the line work that I do use is very, very dark, which is normally okay. When you're using dark or like heavy line work, it can add a very dramatic feel, and it can also boost the contrast of the image almost instantly. But it can also kind of weigh the piece down. And I knew that I wanted this to be very bright, like a bright childlike kind of palette. And I feel that using dark line art would probably have like weighed that down a little bit too much. It would have clashed a little bit too much with the feeling that I was going for. So what I did instead was use line art that was slightly darker than the base color of wherever it happened to be. So for the hair is pink. I decided to use dark pink line art. For her skin, because it's like a light peach color, I decided to use like a darker peach, almost like reddish brown color, and so on. And making decisions like that does come intuitively if you've been doing art for a while. However, it's important to test things out. If you're a person who does create art with line art, it's a good idea every once in a while to kind of switch it up, change the line art color, do different things with the line weight and the line smoothness, and see if you like the effect. For example, I like line weight variance, which means I like thick and thin lines. It kind of helps guide the eye through the image. It makes it more interesting to kind of move around the image with your eyes, but they're usually very smooth lines. And for this one, because again I wanted her to look a little bit unhinged, I wanted the line art to be kind of scratchy and like chaotic. So that is something that I also did with the lines. I intentionally lowered the smoothing on the line in Procreate, and I also just made sure that the lines look kind of scratchy and a little bit not as crazy as like a unfinished sketch, but obviously not refined. And overall I think that those two things combined for the line work helped to create the image that I was going for, the feeling of the image that I was going for. Again, I wanted it to be a clown, but I wanted it to be for Halloween, as sort of a clown that is not exactly right. And I wasn't going for an overtly just scary clown, because I personally believe that that's a little bit overdone. I like to try and strike the balance between like cute or pretty and a little bit unsettling. And I personally think that I achieved that with this particular piece, again with some of the choices that I made. And the one thing that I will say that I struggled with a lot is the background. And this is a recurring theme for me. I do like to have something in the background so that it doesn't look like an unfinished piece. I don't like to have, if I'm doing like a portrait of a person or an animal, I don't like it to be just floating on a white background and it kind of looks like an unfinished painting. But at the same time, the background is almost never the focus or the main focus of my art, so I don't want it to take away or weigh down the piece. So I do struggle usually with what kind of background to make so that it adds a little something to the final piece, but it doesn't weigh it down or take away attention or compete with the viewer's attention. So in the end, I kind of did my usual just abstract color background and a little bit of like texturizing, kind of the canvas texture to make it look like it's a little bit dirty. But that is it for this piece, and this is probably going to be my last video for October. My family is going out of town to visit some family, so I'm going to be gone for a couple of weeks, and we'll be back in November. I'm going to let you watch the rest of the video in peace, and if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. Thank you.